I know why. I made a mistake. I didn't hook up live audio. Instagram, you're getting all of our frailties here. You should be able to hear me now. Check, 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 check. All right, you got me now. All right, we'll start it again. Comes down in 3, 2, 1. It is Locked On Jazz for the 14th of November. The road to 55 wins. That insane a high number? We might as well shoot for it. We'll look at shot distribution around the NBA, and we'll take your questions. It's a live show. It's Locked On Jazz. It's coming right at you. Pow! How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers. Hope you're doing great. We'll look at a bunch of geeky numbers today because that's what we do. We don't have anything to talk about. Big night in the NBA. I've watched a ton. We'll probably check on that. Most importantly, we'll take your questions because it's a Thursday edition brought to you in part by Shamrock Auto, and we are live on Twitch at Locked On Live. We are live on YouTube, Locked On Live, on Facebook, Locked On Live, maybe Locked On Sports also. We are also live coming to you on Instagram at DLock09, on Twitter at Locked On Sports. So we are busy. Glad to have you aboard. Chat room will be bubbling here in a few minutes, and we will get to it. And for those of you that are listening to the audio version of it, this is actually our second take. We started the show without audio, which is a really bad thing to do on a podcast. Hope you're doing great. Hope everyone is enjoying themselves and all is good. I super appreciate everyone who tunes in, lets us continue to kind of try these various formats and do these various things that we try and bring you the show in various different ways along the way. Someone said they have an echo. I think I might have just solved it. If I did, let me know. There's so many different features here all the time. So trying to get rid of certain things to make sure. Now I just turned something else on. I now have audio coming in multiple places. I don't want that. Why did I just do that? I fiddled and I didn't need to. Well, if I just do this, then it should be all right. I'll find out in the chat room. That's the best part about you guys. You will tell me if there's something wrong or if it's going correctly. All right, let's get to it. Road to 55 wins. We do this every year. I hadn't done it yet. We look at the NBA schedule and we do it regardless of back-to-backs, regardless of travel, regardless of injuries. And if all goes well, then we try to figure out what we can do to give you the what it would take to win 55 games on a season. And here's what I've done. Here's how it works. You just go through. So like Denver, 4 games, 2 home, 2 road. I was winning 1 on the road and 1 at home. Portland, 4 games. I didn't know they would be bad, or I pretended that I didn't know that they would be bad. I kind of did this as though I did this yesterday, but I did it as though it was the real season. And looked at it in that fashion. So again, I did the same thing. We split home and road with Portland. And I just went through every single team and looked at them in that fashion. Minnesota, 2 wins at home, 1 on the road. You know what? Probably going to be a little tough to do, but when the season started, if you were going to win 55, that's what you had to do. Oklahoma City, 2 at home, 1 on the road. So don't worry, I'm not going through all of them. Lakers, I have us losing 3 out of 4. Clippers, I have us losing 3 out of 4. Golden State, I have us winning 3 out of 4. Sacramento, I have us sweeping, which we didn't. And so you just kind of go through it like that. Houston, I have us winning 1 out of 3. And this is how, and it builds out to get, by the time you're done, it has us winning at home. It has us winning home games total to win 34-7 at home and 21-20 on the road to win 55 games. Against the East, it has us winning kind of 23 of 30 against the East. Probably what you have to do if you're going to win 55. Not actually, probably. It's exactly what you have to do if you're going to win 55 games. By the way, let me point out something about 55. No one in the world projected us to win 55. Vegas didn't have us at 55. ESPN didn't have us at 55. 538 didn't have us at 55. Like, the only people who have us at 55 is us. So, I think that's just, this is our over-optimism. I would suspect we don't reach this. I don't think we have 55 wins. So, and then at home, I think against the West, I have us going 21-5 at home, which might be a little unrealistic, and then 11-15 on the road. So of our 52 games against the West, I have us going 32-20. And that gets us to 25 wins. Interestingly, we are ahead of pace because in the Eastern Conference, I had us going 13-2 at home against the East, and our two losses are against Milwaukee and Philadelphia, who we've already beat. At home against the West, I have us going to get 21-5 with losses against Denver, Portland, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Rockets. We'll lose something else, right? Like that. That's just the reality of this, is you don't actually go through this. On the road in the West, I have us going 11-15, losing at Denver, Portland, Minnesota, both games against the Lakers, Phoenix, Golden State, both games against the Clippers, Houston. Actually, I have us going 11-15 on the road. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I said that right. Winning one in New Orleans, losing both in San Antonio, winning one in Dallas, winning both in Memphis. Nice win by Memphis last night. So, and then in the East on the road, I have us going 10-5, which is really going to be hard, right? Like, I have us winning in Indiana. I'm not sure we can do that. I have us winning. Our wins in the East are in Brooklyn, tough. New York, tough, just because it's New York. Not really. Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, Indiana, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Washington. So that's the road to 55 wins. It actually feels like, usually when I do this, and I've done it, I guess, enough every year, that you kind of have an idea of what you have to do. Sometimes you come out and you do it like last year, and you're like 4 or 5 games off. I actually did this the first time and came out with 56 and then just had to pull one back. And I understood what I was trying to do, so it makes it a little bit more of a case of, hey, like, how far are you willing to go? But it's interesting to look at. So we'll keep an eye on the road to 55 for the remainder of the year, continue to scan that, look at it, take a check on it, and see whether we can do it. We win 55 games, we could be the number 1 seed in the West. We could be the number 1 seed in the West, frankly. I don't want to get too crazy excited about it this early in the season, but there's, the number one thing we all talked about was whether or not the defense would hold up. And then the second thing was, I think our belief is that the Lakers and the Clippers at some point in the year would not be going full throttle. The Lakers are certainly showing to be every bit as good as they had thought. 9-2, their now offense has clicked into the 8th best offense. The Lakers look great. It's nice to play the Warriors. Same thing happened to us. We played the Warriors. Our offense jumped to 20th. Their offense was struggling earlier in the season. Right now, differential-wise, which is a really good way to look at things, Lakers are 1, Phoenix is 2, the Jazz are 3. Clippers are 4. And +4 is always kind of the number I look at around the league early, is having a very large difference. Lakers are +9, Boston's +9, Milwaukee's +7.5, Phoenix is +6.7, Toronto's +6.6. They're becoming quite a story. Utah's +5.8, Indiana's +5.7, Miami's +5.7. Clippers are a little bit under. Doc lamenting last night how bad his offense is. -4s, by the way, to me, if you're -4 or more, it's really a sign that you're not good. New Orleans is 3.9, Atlanta's 4.6, Washington 6, Memphis is 7, Sacramento 7.2, Charlotte 7.2, New York's 11, and Golden State's 13. Like, you start dropping under -4, it's hard for you to fight back. Sacramento's gotten a little bit better as the year's gone on, but that's just it's a worthwhile way of looking at it. Locked On Jazz and Intercap Lending have been partnered for a little over about a year and a half now. Intercap's grown tremendously in that time, and Steve Carter is our personal loan manager over at Intercap. I love this. Rod Schultz sent me a email the other day and said, I just want to share Steve Carter at Intercap was incredible. He helped me through a messy post-divorce refinance, was willing to be able to provide the numbers and help manage the expectations of the ex. He helped get it done without putting pressure on or causing issues. I generally got the feeling that he just wanted to do the right thing and make sure that everything was in line. Thanks for the recommendation, and big thank you to Intercap Lending. You can use Intercap Lending. They now have 15 branches in Utah, from St. George to Logan to Tooele and Vernal. Also up in Boise and Vegas and Phoenix. So if you're in the area, grab those. A large majority of the production is coming, and they have actually surpassed all of their numbers of a year ago. It's really cool. It's a company that's in their 40th year, but Josh Romney brought it to Utah in April of 2016. They're headquartered in Utah and now hiring people in the state. Hyper responsive. They embrace change. Steve Carter is our personal loan officer. You can reach him at 385-800-8528. That's 385-800-8528. Please let Steve know that you are with Locked On Jazz. He'll give you the corporate discount. Intercap Lending, it's where I did my mortgage. Steve was unbelievable in our refinance. They still own the loan today. That's what gives them the flexibility to do things differently than everybody else. And why are they growing so fast? Because they close on time and they get deals done. It's Intercap Lending, 385-800-8528. That's 385-800-8528. Intercap Lending, NMLS number 190465. All right, I want to get to your questions earlier today. I did have one or two things I wanted to touch on as well in regards to shot distribution and all of those kind of things. By the way, I just got my Away suitcase. I'll be using it today. Away creates thoughtful products designed to change how you see the world. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/lockedon. Use the promo code LOCKEDON during checkout. All right, I want to touch on a few things. Yesterday I did kind of shot distribution across the league, and the Jazz defensive shot distribution is the best in the NBA. And what I mean by that is this is where I talk about bending the shot chart. And it will be interesting to see with Ja Morant, who's just terrific, how Rudy bends the shot chart tomorrow. Because if he can't get to the rim, he gets to be a little less terrific. If he gets to the rim, he's just that good. So it'll be interesting to see. But last night I did a bunch of work on this. Right now, the Jazz have a plus 2.9 point advantage every night over an average team based on where they're forcing other teams to shoot. Plus 2.9. The Spurs are plus 2.4. The Nets are plus 2.3. The Magic are plus 2.3. The Bucks 1.9. Thunder 1.4. Wolves 1.1. And Blazers 1.0. I really believe passionately in this. If you look at shot distribution across the NBA and how it works, what you will generally see is that just about every position in the league, standard deviation gets very small. That by the time the year gets over, the differential between the fourth or fifth best team and the 24th and 25th team is like 1 or 2 percentage points. So where you're forcing teams to shoot defensively is as important as it is how well you're defending the shot, because over time, that just equalizes out. And that's why I believe in this so passionately. And in turn, it's why I also believe the offense, you need to do it. And I know it's really strange to me. I feel like there's this like big thing right now for everyone to try to fight it. Take the shots the defense gives you. No, not really. Because the reason the Jazz defense is so good is because teams are taking the shots that we're giving them and they can't get anything else because of how good we are. And so the question is whether somebody can actually bend the shot chart back in the way they can offensively. So I'm not a big believer in it. In the idea that you just take the shots they're giving you, I'll explain it to you in a second. We have really good shooters. The worst defenses are the Pelicans. I'll tell you what. Pelicans are without Zion Williamson and somehow getting a pass for how bad they are. They should not be getting a pass. Zion wasn't going to help them that much. He's a rookie. Rookies have a hard time. Hornets -2, Heat -1.3. They're doing that on purpose, though. They're trapping and forcing turnovers and willing to give up shots in order to do that. Rockets -1. Suns, Nuggets, and Cavaliers are the defensive teams that have the least good defensive points gained. Offensively, some interesting finds offensively. The Spurs are costing themselves 6 points compared to league average. And the Nuggets are second worst, then the Pacers, then the Grizzlies. So worth watching. The Grizzlies don't take smart shots, and they're going up against us, who's the best in the league. That'll be interesting to watch on Friday. Then the Blazers, the Clippers, the Cavaliers, and the Knicks. The teams with the best shot distribution, the Rockets, are 6 points above average. So the Rockets are playing an average team. They start with a 6-point advantage solely based on where they take their shots. They're not making a lot of them, so then they come back down. Bulls are plus 3.7, Raptors plus 2.9, Nets plus 2.8, fourth best offense in the league. Hornets plus 2.4, Pelicans plus 2, Wolves plus 2, Bucks plus 2, and the Suns plus 1.7. The Wolves are surprisingly good this year. But when you look at how much the Wolves have actually changed their shot distribution, it's very similar to what Milwaukee did a year ago, where they fixed their shot distribution and then they won a bunch of games. Here's the numbers on our guys. Paint non-restricted area so far this year. Okay? So take what the defense gives you, theory, right? Donovan's at 39%. That's 0.78 points per shot, paint non-restricted. Joe's 3 for 8. Bojan Bogdanovic, paint non-restricted, 5 of 22. Mike, so that's 0.44 points per shot. Mike Conley, 14 of 43, 0.64 points per shot. League average is about 1.1 for a possession. Half court, it's about 1. Jeff Green, paint non-restricted, 2 of 12, 0.32 points per shot. Emmanuel Mudiay, 10 of 18, 1.1 points per shot. Okay? Emmanuel Mudiay. Mid-range, so in the non-paint, 2. Joe's 2 for 5. Donovan is 53%. Incredible. Long twos. 1.06. Okay, keep rolling, baby. As long as that's going, Donovan keeps going. Bojan Bogdanovic is 4 of 15, 0.53 points per shot. Mike Conley, 7 of 17, 0.82 points per shot. Jeff Green's 1 for 5.2. Emmanuel Mudiay, 6 of 11, 1.1 points per shot. That's where our guys sit. We're 40% on corner threes. We're 37% on above the break. Emmanuel Mudiay is 2 of 8 on above the break, so he should take the mid-range shot instead. Mike Conley right now is 29% on above the break threes. That will get better. Bojan Bogdanovic is 42%. Royce O'Neal is 50%. Donovan is 44% on above the break. Joe Ingles is 32%. Corner 3, Joe Ingles has been like 50% for his career. 1 for 9. That'll fix. Donovan is like 50% for his career. 1 for 5. Bojan Bogdanovic, 9 of 19. Royce O'Neal, 4 of 6. Jeff Green, 8 of 18. Mike Conley, 6 of 12. I don't know if that was, I keep hearing take what the defense gives me. I just told you what we're doing when we take what the defense gives it. All right, let's run through some of the questions tonight. Very active on the chat room. I super appreciate all of you. Thank you, Ned Murphy, for the nice comments. Why are we having such large lapses in our offense, says Brandon Whiteside, and also why are players seemingly taking turns with mini scoring runs for a couple of minutes? Bogey, Donovan, Conley, where's the consistency? I think this goes to what I talked about when the year started, that this was going to be a huge adjustment for all of our guys. You know, Donovan was a go-to guy. Conley was the go-to guy. Bogdanovic the go-to guy. Jeff Green's averaged double figures every year of his career. Emmanuel Mudiay has been the highest usage player on his team. This is a tremendous adjustment for each and every one of these players. And I think we're seeing that on the offensive end right now. I think we're seeing how difficult it is for these guys in this adjustment. And I think that's why that's taking place. So, I mean, Brand, I think that and they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to start playing with eyes out. I downloaded the Brooklyn Nets game. I'm going to watch it and maybe put together a video on how we get more threes. I think there's a bunch of times where guys get into the paint and there's actually somebody open and they're not seeing it. I might be wrong, but I'm going to go watch today on the plane solely for that person. From KLB Mickelson on Instagram, how many shots are the Jazz taking in the last 5 seconds of the shot clock? Well, that is something we can look up. So let's see if we can find it. In the meantime, also from Instagram, when Exum comes back, who loses minutes since coach likes to keep a 9-man rotation? That is a good question. Frankly, I thought it was going to be Emmanuel Mudiay until he had the last 2 games he's had. And then he's been really good, frankly. And I thought it was going to be George Niang, but then George Niang went out of the rotation. So I think coach would like to actually play a 10-man rotation. But the problem with that is, a guy like Jeff Green, you start playing 10-man rotation, who's used to playing an awful lot of time, suddenly does not get the time that makes him comfortable on the floor, and then he's not as engaged. And so I don't know. I really, truly, I thought Emmanuel Mudiay, I thought Dante was going to come back while Emmanuel Mudiay was out, and I was wondering whether Emmanuel Mudiay was ever going to get time on the floor again. And Emmanuel Mudiay has been really good both the last 2 nights, especially, basically won us that ball game with Jeff Green the other night. So it'll be curious to me to see what happens in that regard, because I'm not sure. I will get to your shot clock question here in just 1 second. The internet is a bit slow because we're streaming all at the same time. I think I might have even buffered a little bit right there on the live stream. All right, let's jump to the questions. What has impressed you most about this team so far? From Kyle Finman on Periscope. The defense. The fact that this team is number 1 in the league defensively, and there's no fluke about it. That they've only played 2 teams that are in the bottom 10 defensively. It's not as though they've played a schedule with bad offensive teams. They did play, it could be 3 of 10 if you count the Clippers without Kawhi. So that could be part of it. But I don't think there's a lot of fluke there. And, they played Brooklyn, who's the 4th best offensive team in the league. And so I'm not seeing anything that's fluky, and Rudy's defense has just been great. The Jazz are using the 7th most amount of possessions in the final 7 seconds of the shot clock at 9.7. Cleveland, Miami, Oklahoma City, Detroit, Philly, and Orlando are all using more. Denver's right with us. We are shooting not particularly well in that setting. We're right about league average, maybe a notch above league average, largely because we're just missing our threes, almost maybe unnaturally. We're 21% on threes in that setting. So we are using it probably late in the shot clock a little bit more than Quinn would prefer in that setting. Good question. Let's take one more before we talk to you about Shamrock Auto. Do you think the Lakers have a good record to start based on teams they've played? I have not looked at that, Bill. I think the Lakers are just good. The Alex Caruso point guard at 6'6", coupled with Avery Bradley, coupled with LeBron, coupled with Anthony Davis, coupled with a big 7-footer in the middle, that is a massive team. I think, and Frank Vogel's a very good defensive coach. If they could please pick up Jason Kidd's defensive approaches, we'd be a lot better off. I keep hoping that I'm going to see them play Jason Kidd non-smart defense, and then we'll be all right. And I don't see it yet. But I think the Lakers, they're offensively, they're 9th in the league now. And defensively, they're just great. You know what? I mean, there wasn't a projection system that threw the Lakers into this thing and didn't have them coming out as great. So I don't know why we should be particularly surprised by that. Today's show is a Thursday live edition, often is, brought to you by our friends over at Shamrock Auto Group. So appreciative to Rob and the crew over at Shamrock. That's Rob Taylor, not Rob Thomas. Rob, a huge Jazz fan, must be loving what he's seeing right now. I'm going to have to give him a call and check in. Or if Rob, if you're listening, you can give me a call. I'd love to catch him. Better cars, no drama, no hassle, great pricing, and they can get you in any truck or sedan. I asked Rob once what his favorite part is, and he said, well, return customers are my favorite, but also the people that call me up from out of state and tell me what kind of car they want to get, and then he goes and gets them for them, and then they come to town. When Rob built this, he combined 80 years of automotive experience in his company all at one time. His technician is the buyer, 25 years as a technician, so then he knows he has great cars on his lot. They're a lean company, fewer employees than everyone else. They can't afford to take hours in the sales process, so therefore it gives you a lot of freedom, and the reviews show. They specialize in Chevy, Buick, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Cadillac, Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, Acura, Lexus. You got it. Shamrock is great to get any car or truck a customer wants. That includes all brands. So if Shamrock doesn't have the car, just tell Rob what you want. Give Rob a call today 801-319-2250. That's 801-319-2250. Go to ShamrockAutoGroup.com. That's ShamrockAutoGroup.com. 801-319-2250. Tell Rob you're with Locked On Jazz. See if you get one of those lifetime coolers. That's what he did last year. I haven't checked with him to see what he's got. Last year, he had all sorts of things if we won the championship. It's like a legitimate chance we might be competing for the championship. My guy Rob got quiet on me about the championship. Rob, what's up with that? Rob, give Rob a call, 801-319-2250. All right, let's get back to your questions on the show. Look forward to, love these Thursday live shows and getting going. By the way, treat yourself to a meal you deserve. Have your favorite restaurant come to you. DoorDash right now. Our listeners get $5 off their first order of 15 or more. Download the DoorDash app and enter the promo code LOCKED ON. All right, back to our questions. Super job today. I do not know how Brantley is looking with the Stars. I'm not sure actually he was with the Stars last night. They lost in Iowa. Justin Wright Foreman had a big day. Watch Juwan Morgan out of Indiana. I think there's some feeling he might be good. Why is the mid-range so ineffective if Don is hitting? It's not the long two is not inefficient for Donovan right now at all. He's at 50 whatever percent we just talked about. The amount of players that hold that for an entire season are very low. So that it's not an inefficient shot for Donovan right now. Now he gets into the paint in that little floater and he drops his percentage and he has for a long time. So we'll see. What is the chance we get multiple All-Stars this year? Well, we run off about 7 or 8 straight right now and suddenly end up being 15-4. It'll be hard to deny them, but you got to go look around. I mean, go look around the West. LeBron's an All-Star. Anthony Davis is an All-Star, right? Okay. Clippers. Kawhi Leonard's an All-Star. Paul George is an All-Star. We got 4. James Harden's an All-Star. Russell Westbrook's an All-Star. We got 6. Nikola Jokic is an All-Star. We got 7. Karl Anthony Towns is an All-Star. We got 8. Andrew Wiggins is pretty close to an All-Star right now. Right? We got 9. Devin Booker. Pretty hard to deny Devin Booker. 10. Dame Lillard. 11. Luka Doncic. 12. Okay, we're done. That's without a Jazz player. And that's without anybody else getting voted on that I've forgotten about. That's without LaMarcus Aldridge or DeMar DeRozan. That's without Zion Williamson getting voted on in some miracle. That's without Steph Curry or something like that crazy happening. That's 12. Somebody of that group has to get bumped. For Rudy, it's not Anthony Davis, it's not Nikola Jokic, and it's not Karl Anthony Towns. Though Nikola Jokic has not been very good so far. Jamal Murray probably thinks he's an All-Star. So it's going to be, it's you're only getting an All-Star game based on the who gets knocked off, and it's not just that you have an All-Star caliber season and you make the All-Star game. Ask Mike Conley. Greetings from Iceland. Is it time to worry about Ingles or just him adjusting to a new role? I wouldn't worry about Joe too much. His catch and shoot numbers were fine. If he gets hot for one day, everything kind of straightens out. He is adjusting to a new role. Traditionally, when he plays with the ball, we talked about this a lot last year. When he plays with the ball in his hands, and he's conducting, his shooting percentages go way down. He can't shoot a 3 when he can't pass to himself for an open 3 if he has the ball in his hands. He's playing with Emmanuel Mudiay and Jeff Green, which are not big passers. So he is not getting the opposite. He is not getting the same opportunities for looks that he usually gets. So I think it's gnawing him a little bit. When I watched him on the floor the other night in his warm-ups, he seemed frustrated. So I would not worry about it too much. He is getting on the other side of 30, and when I have said this about Joe, when age hits him, it'll hit him harder than most people. That's not necessarily a comment of Joe. I think there's a big myth out there that guys like Mehmet Okur and Joe and some other players, but frankly, Paul Millsap was one I thought this would happen to, and I was wrong. Carlos Boozer, this did happen to. When you're lacking some athleticism or lacking, in Joe's case, he's so long, might be okay. But if you're lacking athleticism, just this is general, this is not about Joe. If you're lacking athleticism or lacking height, and when you slip that extra little step because you get old, you actually fall off the cliff. If you're LeBron or Paul George and you're like this elite, incredible athlete, and you slip, you actually just come back to Karl Malone, you come back to normal. or you come back to a little bit above normal, and your athleticism is now normal. But if you're on the lower end of either size or athleticism, and in Joe's specific case, he's on the elite side of size and maybe the lower side of athleticism. I'm not sure that's totally true, but we always say that, and it's kind of become true. I'm not sure I totally believe that. Then when you slip hard. So that's just a theory I believe in players, that those type of players age worse than other players. Eric Wood on Facebook, you were very hesitant about Mudiay. That's me he's talking about. Has he done enough to change your mind, and will it change when Exum becomes available? So Emmanuel's been good. His mid-range is now 2 years in a row. I wish he would pass more. I understand we're asking him to totally change his game. His instinct is every time he brings the ball up the floor to just beat the guy who's guarding him, and he usually can do it, and then play from there. And most coaches think that's great. And we play a little differently than that. And I also would like to see him not Velcro on screens quite as much as he does. He seems to sometimes kind of get through the first screen or two, and then as the game goes on, he gets hit more. Maybe that's a fatigue thing, and he's getting in better and better shape, because I think he's been better the last few games I've seen on it. Might be the hamstring too. So the same way I'm not going to worry about Joe Ingles after 10 games, I'm not going, because I've got 5 years of data, I'm not going to go just eliminate 4 years of data, but I do think that there are a ton of positives about Emmanuel. One, his attitude is great. Two, his atmosphere around the guys is great. So he's trying. He seems to be comfortable with his role and understand it. And then he's showing elite level skills at getting by people and finding ways to finish. And he's clearly learned about his weaknesses at the rim, that he can't just recklessly go to the rim every single time. So he's doing a nice job with that. You'll also notice they're playing him off the ball more, which I think is a better strength for him with Donovan. Does Emmanuel turn to Dante's backup spot to shooting guard? I think Dante's backup spot is a 2 or 3. I've said that all year long. But I think Donovan's doing a half decent to above average job as the backup 1 right now. In that the way they've worked the second unit, I think there's something to that. Ingles looks tired, and you mentioned he's adjusting, come off the bench. Is there an argument that can be made to put him back in the starting lineup? No, because I think you've got to run the team, not a player. And right now, both those lineups are great. The Jazz starting lineup is fabulous. The plus minus on it is great. So you can't run the team just for the benefit of Joe. I do think that Joe's role as it is right now will not lead him to the same kind of numerical success that he's had in the past. But the starting lineup is a plus 19 per 100 possessions right now. The O lineup is a plus 30. The lineup where Joe comes in, the first sub off the bench without Donovan, is a plus 6. So those are our 3 primary lineups, and they're all working. So I'm not going to just adjust what we're doing to get Joe Ingles going. So no, I would not do that. Why do you think Rubio's played so well with the Suns to start the season? From Ryan Johnson. I think to some extent, Ricky's role on that team is really clear. Like, go score. It's kind of what it was with Spain. And then when they he did that for us a little bit, and we didn't have enough other people around him, and he got a little carried away with it at times. And there wasn't, if he had a weakness with us, is there wasn't enough kind of intermixing of that. He's shooting more than he's ever shot. He's taking 2 more shots a game, or shot more a game than he's taken. His numbers, it's been 9 games. He's shooting 40% from 3. He's had 1 year in his career where he shot better than 32% from 3, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm not going with a 9-game sample size on this one. Maybe he's hot, and he's going to stay hot all year. And I hope so, because I like Ricky. But you're asking me my analysis of it, and my analysis is the same I just said about Joe and Emmanuel. I'm taking a larger sample size. Did the Jazz have interest in signing Kenneth Faried before he went to China? I don't know. I don't think so. We clearly need an enforcer to make a title run. Is Ed Davis that guy? Brantley trade deadline acquisitions. Probably not Jarrell Brantley, even though he's big. And Ed Davis is the kind of guy you trust in the playoffs. I think that is important. Our next road trip will humble us. Milwaukee, Indiana, Memphis, Toronto, Philly. Sure, we're playing 4 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Any word on Dante's return? It might be Friday. I don't know. Dante practiced today. We'll see. Can you introduce me to Renee Ingles? That's a great call. That's a rock star in her own right. We're going to end the show on that one. Nice job, Mayor. It is Locked On Jazz. This has been a live edition of the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Super appreciate you and all your support to the program. I know there's a bunch of questions we didn't get to. As always the case, I'll kind of look through them and touch on them on Friday. On the show, on the plane today, I'm going to go watch our games and see whether I can figure out what's going on in regards to open threes and if we're really bypassing or if they're just not available. Thanks to everybody on Twitch for tuning in, our kind of new format we're hitting on YouTube, as well as Facebook and all of you on Periscope. This has been Locked On Jazz on Locked On Live. Now, tell your smart device to play podcast Rejecting the Screen. It's the Thursday interview edition with Rejecting the Screen this week with Doug Gottlieb. So make sure you go grab that. It's all, or grab Locked On NBA, which isn't posted yet, with me and Ben Golliver. It will be shortly. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.